Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing Dixit Disney Edition. Dixit Disney Edition is, it's Dixit, but it's the Disney edition of Dixit with Disney art and all of that, and from what I can see, I'd have to double check each rulebook. From what I can see though, there are no changes to the actual gameplay. So if you're just here to find out, if you've played Dixit before and you're just here to find out what Disney Edition adds, it adds new card art. And I guess I'll show you some of that so you can have a sense of it over here. We just have different artwork inspired by the Disney universe, and that's it. That's what we have. Ooh, Robin Hood, I love Robin Hood. But either way, that's what we got over here. And so if you like Dixit and you like Disney artwork, this is mostly a good recommendation. There's one small caveat. I'll give you that one small caveat here, and then we'll actually talk about Dixit if you haven't played Dixit before. The small caveat to Dixit Disney Edition is, on the one hand, I love the Disney universe, I love the Disney artwork, I think the cards are beautiful, and I'm a big fan. On the other hand, the one downside of the Disney Edition specifically compared to Dixit is that the theme can sometimes mentally pigeonhole you a bit. That's the pro and the con. That's my review of Dixit Disney Edition for those of you who have played Dixit. Now, if you have not played Dixit, let's start from scratch and let's talk about what this game is, because Dixit is a 3 to 6 player game, a party game so to speak, in which you're trying to get to 30 points, and you're trying to do so by getting other players to obfuscate what the cards are, and to get some but not all players to guess your cards, while being clever about your own choices so that other players pick your cards. And if you have no idea how the game operates from that makes sense to me. You're going to go ahead and deal everyone 6 cards. Let's go ahead and deal myself 6 cards over here, and let's pretend that I am the clue giver. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the cards in my hand over here. We have a bunch of clues over here. I'm going to pick any one card, and I'm going to use that as my reference point. Ooh, I love the art on this card. Honestly, the way I play Dixit, no matter what set I'm playing with, is I pick the card that I have the favorite art for, and I try to think of a clue for that card. You see, the clue you give when you play Dixit could be anything. It could be as useless or as useful as you imagine. The problem is you're kind of aiming for a halfway point. You see, I could say, literally, the scene from Aladdin in which you have the glass, the time flowing through the hourglass. If I say that as my clue, everyone's going to know this is my card. That's not a good clue. I could also say, cool art. No one will know it's my clue, which again makes it a bad clue because we haven't talked about scoring yet, but if you're too obvious or not obvious enough, effectively everyone else will get points and you will not. And so you want to think of something clever. And so to that end, the clever clue I'm going to go ahead and give, let's see, might be, I could just say time. I don't know. I'm going to say cavern. Okay, I'm going to say cavern. And the reason I'm going with cavern right now is because, that is the cavern over there to a certain extent. So that will hopefully spark some people's imagination. So I say cavern, I put my card down, try not to hit the board, and then other players look at their hands of cards. They all also have 6 cards, and they try to find a clue that matches cavern. They don't know what I picked. They don't know what this card looks like, and so they go ahead and they look over here, and they try to find a clue that matches cavern. This player over here, this kind of makes me think of a cavern, so we'll go ahead and place this down into the pile. We're going to look at the next player who has their own hand of 6 cards to look through, and we're going to go ahead and look at our cards and what kind of cavern is. This over here is a cavern. They're hunting into a cavern, so we're going to put that into the pile. We're going to go ahead and grab the next hand of cards over here, 2 more. We're going to look. All the players have to submit a clue over here. This player doesn't seem like they have a lot that's very cavern adjacent, but maybe like being in I don't know, maybe that's a cavern, so maybe let's go ahead and put that there. And now all the players, you shuffle up the cards based on the player count. Right now I'm simulating a 4-player game, although I'll simulate it a little better for you as we go in a second. I'm going to go ahead and again, remember, one player selected the clue based on the card. The other players selected the card based on the clue, giving them less of a competitive advantage. We're going to place them down, we're going to reveal them all one at a time, going around the board and giving players the opportunity to guess for which card they think matches that. Players are going to take the little dials over here, and they're going to vote for whoever they think is that person, well, everyone except for the person who gave the clue. So let's pretend that over here Tinkerbell did not give, so let's move my dial. Let's pretend the players went ahead and voted. Somebody sees cavern, green sees it, they see that, they think it's a great choice. Also, green picked this one, green submitted this card, which is the next obvious choice, at least in my mind it is, so they know it's not that one. Meanwhile, red does indeed get confused by 4, and they go ahead with 4, and meanwhile, pink over here also selects 2 as theirs. Done. We go ahead and flip them over, we reveal them, and we see what happens. This is where the scoring comes into play. You see, if no one guessed your card, if you had said, what was my previous terrible clue? Wishes? I don't even know. Wishes actually wouldn't have been bad. Good artwork. Good artwork was my previous terrible clue. If you said that and no one got your clue right, then everyone except for you goes up 2 points. Okay? Everyone except for you goes up 2 points when you give a bad clue. Similarly, had I said time flowing through an hourglass from the scene from Aladdin, again, if everyone guesses you right, then, you know, you go ahead and get no points and everyone else gets 2 points. One thing I forgot, by the way, is if everyone guesses you right, they all get 2 points, you get nothing. If no one gets you right, you go ahead and get 2 points. I said that poorly. You get no points, they all get 2 points, and additionally, everyone gets a point for guessing a card of yours. So for right now, for example, if I had guessed this one over here, then that player will get, if everyone guesses for this person instead of this person, they all go ahead and get a point. And then lastly, which usually is what happens if your clue is halfway decent, some people guess for yours, some people do not. And when that happens, when whoever guessed your clue gets 3 points, you get 3 points, and then anyone else who guessed for a different card, that card gets a point. So for example, in this case, where 2 players guessed 2, those players would all get 3 points. So over here, 3 points here, 3 points over here for this one. We get 3 points for me for giving a clue that some would get and not others. Green submitted this card, which is what 4 guessed over here. So you guessed that one, which means green goes up another 1 point because one person guessed their card. And then over here, the sad little red panda gets nothing. Let's do that one more time, and this time you won't actually know what's happening, so you can properly follow along. I'll again get 6 cards, and this time I'm going to really simulate it and have you guess. So we're going to go ahead and just put your guess in the comment down below, but I'm going to give the clue, although I did tell you I do it based on the best artwork, so now I'll take it back. I'm just going to do it based on anyone. In fact, I'm going to shuffle up my hand, I'm going to pick a card, that's the one I'm doing it based on. I don't like that one. I'm going to do another one. Okay, I can work with this one. We're going to say... we're going to say Little Boy Blue. Okay, Little Boy Blue is my card. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. We're going to shuffle things up over here, grab some more. Let's see what we can guess for Little Boy Blue. I'm going to find some things over here. No, no, no. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Let's do that one over here. Great, okay. We're going to find some cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the other players submitting their guesses, and you're going to have to figure out which one's yours. Oh, that's not bad. I like that one. Okay, great. We're going to do that. There. And then we're going to go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last player over here. You always have 6 cards. By the way, at the end of your turn, you replenish a single card. You don't discard your entire hand. But we're doing that now. And we're going to go ahead and... Ooh, I like that one. I like that one. That's a good match for this. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these down. We're going to shuffle it up, and you're going to have to guess which one was mine. Okay, keeping in mind the other players, all me, simulated that card. So we're going to put this card over here. We're going to put that card over there. We're going to put that card over there. We're going to put that card over there. We're going to have you pause the video right about now, and then... That's just me keeping my hand still to throw you off. You unpaused the video a while ago. But either way, hopefully you guessed one over here. Tell me which one you guessed, and I'll just walk you through it. The actual one was this one over here. The artwork inspired me. Cat and the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue grew up so soon. When you're gonna play with me, I don't know when. But we'll get together then, son. You know we'll have a good time then. Then this player over here didn't really have a lot to operate, but they did have like a kid, so like Little Boy Blue, maybe that works, so they placed that one over there. Over here, this one actually works really well. This one has the idea of growing up is in that artwork itself, so that kind of matches my clue almost. I wonder if somebody went with that one. And then we should have this just pure time, the nature of time in the game, so that could be a thing. And that's going to be the cards. People guess, people score. You do that until you hit 30 points, or until you decide you've had enough fun, or you keep playing and you do however you want in that, and that is Dixit Disney Edition. So, let's talk about my opinions, my review, all of that stuff. Dixit is a game I've had for a very long time. Not this one I just got. But Dixit as a game is one of the first games I got when I got into board gaming. I've played it with a lot of people, and it's stuck around for a long, long time. I stopped collecting expansions a long time ago. Kind of should get more of them. It's one of those party games that does keep coming out. And the reason for that is because it gives you that simple appeal of a game like Apples to Apples, but to me with much more of a gamified aspect and beautiful artwork, which means the mechanics elevate the game partially on its own, but also the amazing art of the game pulls you in even further. So Dixit just captures you. The things I like about Dixit are the amazing artwork, the way the artwork all has a degree of trippiness to it, and the Disney one is a bit more tame in the sense that it kind of pulls from the world of Disney, so it has that more of an imaginative aspect to it as opposed to, I would say, typical Dixit kind of leans into almost like the loopy, the surreal. Regular Dixit is I would describe as surreal, and Dixit Disney I would describe as imaginative. But it has that aspect, so you have these different ways the cards give you art or storylines or pictures or a little twist on the universes, and so the amazing art captures your attention, and in the case of Disney it captures your attention and your memories, your imagination at the same time, all while giving you a structure that incentivizes a clever clue giving, but not too much. If you're too obvious, you'll lose points. If you're too subtle, you'll lose points. You have to find that perfect middle ground. And I don't know about you, but for our group, I mean, we have a rule of like no inside jokes, so I can't like direct a clue to one person at the table, because that kind of takes the fun out of it. But rather, I have to go with a clue that maybe some people know that reference. Maybe some people know about a movie that connects the A to B. Some people wouldn't even know that Little Boy Blue is a reference to the song The Cat and the Cradle. Some people would or wouldn't know that, and so it gives you that opportunity to feel clever as you play while still leaning into the core structure of a game like Apples to Apples. So it's simple to teach, it's easy to play through. You can do a sample round or two just to give people the idea of how point scoring works, and usually I find most games end up being fairly tight. Even some games often have like a runaway lead at first, but then it recovers, bounces back. It's always just a good time within a very simple rule set and just art. Art being the core subject of how the game changes, evolves, and keeps you invested as you continue to go through. Every set of Dixit comes with 84 cards, I believe, and this one as well comes with 84 cards. And you will go through that, which is speaking to the things I dislike about the game. The things I dislike about the game, first of all, is the limited art. It is so easy to go through 84 cards, even in a single session of the game, depending on the player count. If you're playing a 6-player game of this, you can go through all 84 cards in a single session if you're not careful. That can happen. These cards, you go through them quickly, and that means you'll see a lot of what the world has to offer as you go through it. And sometimes the nature of that linear one-to-one aspect, meaning you see a card, so if I see this one card over here, this card, or that one Little Boy Blue, sometimes you're tempted to give the same clue. If you come upon this card again and again, that one-to-one ratio that's present in the card to clue means you might find yourself pulling yourself back to similar clues over time, especially if you're playing it repetitively. I almost wish sets of Dixit came with more cards off the bat, and while in regular Dixit that's not a problem because you can expand it so simply and easily, in Dixit Disney, unless you're willing to mix and match with regular Dixit, which you may well be willing to. In fact, I'd almost encourage it because of the second thing I don't like. I would say that unless you're willing to do that, it means you are limited to just these 84 cards, at least for now. So you can go through cards quickly, and that can pigeonhole you a bit. Speaking of pigeonholing, I would say that the theme of Dixit Disney, and it's something I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, for those who just wanted to know my opinion of Dixit Disney as opposed to Dixit, I think the theme of Dixit Disney does pigeonhole you a bit where regular Dixit does not. Sometimes it's because of the nature of you knowing these properties, these movies, the theme, the lore gets pulled from. Sometimes it's a bit too easy to see what the theme is and what that represents as opposed to the art on the card itself. It can be a little too easy to lose the forest for the trees as you go through this, and that's just the nature of having, like this card could represent a million things, or it could represent the world of Merlin. It has that aspect where you'll have certain pieces of art. This is just Buzz Lightyear. That's what it is. It's Buzz Lightyear. That's what it is. This is Toy Story. And sometimes it's hard to disconnect that it's more than just Toy Story. It's a scene through space, and it represents the real and the imagination, and there's more to go on there. The theme can pigeonhole you a bit where regular Dixit does not do so. I don't think it's a huge problem, but in terms of pure, if I was judging the games purely on gameplay and nothing else, I would suggest Dixit first and Disney second. Although the flip side is the art and presentation of Disney does have that additional aspect of memories and fondness and nostalgia that does elevate it a bit at the same time. And then my last critique of Dixit is it's a 3 to 6 player game, but I do find the 3-player game to be a little weak. Not very weak, but a little weak. Comparatively speaking, at the very least, I think the 4-player game is already great. 5 players is great. 6 is also great. The game moves pretty quickly, honestly. But I do think 3, while functional, is not the ideal player count. And if you're playing this game only at 3, I think you should really give it a shot at 4, 5, or 6 before you truly judge it, just based on the nature and type of game it is. As far as what I can see others not liking, there's a bunch of small things. This game may not be for you, but first of all, clues are inherently subjective, and that means that the clue I give may not match with others at the table, and you can have this it's a clue-based game. It does have that follow the leader, try to cater to the leader to a certain extent, and you have bad hands. You'll have a hand of cards that just, someone says a clue, and you're like, not a single one of my clues just looks like a cavern. Like, what am I supposed to do? So you just use that as an opportunity to get rid of a card that you've been kind of avoiding for the past 5 turns, but you're not really in that round. You're not competitive just because of the nature of a hand that doesn't match the clue. Or the reverse happens as well. You have that luck of the draw moment where I say caverns, thinking that my Aladdin sand thingy is the perfect clue for it. I wonder if there's a better clue for caverns in here. But then someone plays a card that is the perfect fit for the warded hand, the perfect fit, to the point that it seems like theirs is the obvious choice, and sometimes the sheer luck of the draw gives somebody that opportunity to place a card that better matches the clue given than your own. I like those moments. Those moments are fun, and they're like, I can't believe you had a card like that in your hand, but it can be frustrating if you're approaching this purely as a mechanical experience. Having that luck enter the picture can be frustrating as you go through it. So, that's where we are on this one. Let's talk about final thoughts on Dixit Disney. Again, this is kind of my overall opinion of Dixit as well, because I've had Dixit for a long time. I don't think I've ever reviewed it on the channel, so this is a good opportunity to talk about that. I like Dixit. I think Dixit is a great system. It's one of the few party games I have in my collection that stands the test of time. I have Codenames, I have Decrypto, I have Monikers, I have Dixit Disney, I have Just One, I have a handful of So Clover. I should say few, but like I have like 6 to like and Blob Party. Blob Party. Don't even get started on Blob Party. It's a new game, but this. Party games aren't my go-to. It's not my main theme, but I do appreciate why they exist and what they have to offer, especially for the right crowd, or more specifically because of the diverse crowd that they can cater to. And so I have, out of my hundreds of games I have in my collection, I have less than 10 what I would call classic party games, and Dixit is not only one of those, but it's one of the first games I had in my collection and has stood the test of time. I don't think it's the best experience ever, but I think it took the magic of apples to apples. I think it gamified it together with some incredible art and presentation that really made you think through how you want to approach these cards and the combination of things, and I just think it's an overall good time. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and to be clear, that rating applies both to regular Dixit as well as to Dixit Disney. I think Dixit Disney has that pro and con aspect compared to regular Dixit. I think mechanically it's a drop lower because you can be pigeonholed into the theme, where regular Dixit really has it completely loose and open-ended. On the flip side, I love the art, I love the world, and so that elevates it at the same time that it's a drop down, and frankly I'm happy to have both in my collection. I don't yet know if I'll be mixing this into regular Dixit. I haven't yet decided because, on the one hand, I think that could solve the pigeonholing problem. On the other hand, for that crowd that might be slightly more enamored with pure Dixit Disney, having them all in a single box of whatever, that seems to be better for now. So I'm not mixing it yet, but I may end up doing so later. In any case, as far as other game recommendations, first of all, highly recommend Mysterium. If you're looking for a game that takes that magical artwork and gives you like a lot more of a detective style game around it, Mysterium has that similar aspect, similar vibes. Been around for a long time, from the same publisher, I believe, from Libelud as well. And I think it's a fantastic game that really, it's a lot heavier, so you have to be very aware of what you're stepping into, but it is a great game that will have that same kind of art and aesthetic, but with a lot more of a puzzle that you work with your team to solve mysteries as you go through it. And then secondly, if you're looking for another version of Dixit, other than, of course, basic Dixit, Stella in the Dixit universe, or I think it's called Stella Dixit Universe, takes that same core puzzle of how Dixit operates and gamifies it slightly more. I arguably think that Stella Dixit Universe is a slightly better version of Dixit. I do think it's slightly less accessible in the rules, though, so I think it's a great next step, but I would recommend starting with Dixit first. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.